Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. Today we are going to take a look at our friend Superboy Prime, the evil Superboy Prime. So let's get started. So for those who may not know, Superboy Prime was essentially Superboy from Earth Prime. Eons ago, when there was the awesome miniseries Crisis on Infinite Earth, basically DC decided to pretty much destroy the multiverse. And one of the universe or the Earths that were destroyed was the Earth Prime, was the universe of Earth Prime, was the Prime universe. Which is a bit ironic because the Prime universe was supposed to be our Earth. It was supposed to be the Earth that the reader were coming from. But somehow during the Crisis on Infinite Earth, when they decided to destroy the multiverse and only have like one Earth at the end, well, I guess they had no choice. They had to somehow destroy Earth Prime. But for some reason, they decided to give Earth Prime its own Superboy, its own version of Superboy. Hence, we got Superboy Prime. But with the end of Crisis on Infinite Earth, obviously the multiverse was destroyed, and they wanted to go back to having only one Superman, and they wanted to go back to Superman being the last son of Krypton. So they pretty much got rid of the Earth 2 Superman and also of our friend Superboy Prime, sadly. So they pretty much created him just to get rid of him at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earth, sadly enough. So Superboy Prime, Superboy from Earth 2, Lois Lane from Earth 2, and Alexander Luthor from Earth 3 all went back into some sort of a pocket dimension when the multiverse was destroyed. And when the what was called at the time a New Earth was created, like the new basically the new DC universe. So our friend Superboy Prime started basically with a Superboy costume. That it literally was Superboy, but from Earth Prime. That was the only thing that made him distinctive from the other Superboys that we had. So I basically to recreate Superboy Prime, obviously all you really need is here I'm using the scuba chest piece. For the pants, the New Genesis pants. The belt is the retro belt, if I remember correctly. The boots are the tall classic boots. And obviously for the cape, we can use either the cape that our friend Steel is selling in the Watchtower, or the cape that the Power Girl is selling in the Watchtower. The Steel cape is a tier 1 set of gear, the Power Girl cape is a tier 2 set of gear. Well, also you can wait a bit and purchase it from the style vendor. You decide. And obviously you'll need an emblem for our friend Superboy Prime. Here I'm using the emblem from the BVS swag bag. Sadly, if you're one of those who did not purchase the BVS swag bag when it was available, sadly you have little choice. You have to use either the S emblem, there's also the shield emblem that kind of could work, or there is the Superwoman emblem that would probably work fine with this character. I don't have the Superwoman emblem with this character, so I won't be able to show it to you. But I've made videos about like the retro Superman with the Superwoman emblem. So just look it up and you'll see what the Superwoman emblem actually looks like. So after Crisis on Infinite Earth, sadly our friend Superboy Prime disappeared for like 20 years for quite a long time. But he came back during the page within the pages of Infinite Crisis. At first, when our friend Superboy Prime came back in the pages of Infinite Crisis, he still had the classic Superboy costume. But at some point during the miniseries, I forget how it happened, he ended up with a non mixture of the Anti Monitor armor and his classic look. And I was fortunate enough to be able to give the chest piece that the Power Girl is selling in the Watchtower. Even though this is a villain character, but not too long ago we had basically a free gift from PlayStation Plus, and one of those free gifts was to have a complete House of L set of gear that we could give to one character. So I gave the House of L set of gear to this character so that I could reproduce this look exactly. So basically, I'm using the House of L chest piece to be able to have the Superman emblem with that character. And pretty much everything else comes from the Anti-Monitor style. So if you saw, I made quite a few videos where I played the Anti-Monitor missions, and I was able playing the Anti-Monitor missions to be able to finally have I don't think I purchased the whole style of this character. I probably only purchased the pieces I needed, and obviously with the House of El War suit, there was the cape that came with it. So again, in order to be able to reproduce this look, you need the tier 2 chest piece and the cape. Although again, for the cape, you could go for the steel cape, the cape that Steel is selling in the Watchtower. But everything else, as you can see, comes from the Anti-Monitor. The shoulders, the hands, the pants, and the boots, that's all styles from the Anti-Monitor. So if you did not get that style during the anniversary event, sadly you're going to have to wait until next year for the anniversary event to make a comeback. For the belt, I stuck with the retro belt. I probably should use the Anti-Monitor belt to be closer to the actual look of the character, but I prefer to use this belt to the Anti-Monitor belt. So as you can see, we can recreate pretty much a pretty good version of a Superboy Prime using all those styles. And then at the end of Infinite Crisis, our friend Superboy was captured, and he was held prisoner by the Green Lantern Corps. Basically, they had created this cell around some sort of mini Red Sun, where they were able to contain our friend Superboy Prime. So while our friend Superboy Prime was within that cell, he pretty much carved a Superman emblem on his chest. Basically, using his nails, he scratched himself on the chest in order to be able to get a Superman emblem as a not even a tattoo, like as a branding essentially. So this is the look. We saw this look come back a couple of times. Like basically when we saw Superboy Prime later on, he went back to his anti-monitor armor, but once in a while, for some reason, he would go back to this shirtless look, where we would see a Superboy his S emblem that was engraved in his chest. So this Superboy Prime look here comes actually straight from the comics. Again, it's a style that we saw in the comics from time to time, but there's quite a few other styles if you don't want to have just a shirtless Superboy Prime. And then the next time we saw Superboy Prime was within the pages of the Sinestro Green Lantern War. We got a pretty cool looking Superboy Prime that was kind of a mixture between, again, you had some pieces of the Anti-Monitor armor, but it was an odd mixture of the Anti-Monitor armor, some Superboy costume, and the evil Sinestro costume. So you can see our friend Superboy Prime with the Sinestro Corps emblem. And of course, the Superman cape, always. But everything else is pretty much, no, it's not true. The chest piece, the waist, and the pants, those are the Disciple of Parallax pieces of gear. You can get those once you reach Tier 5 in the Hall of Doom. Not in the Hall of Doom, sorry, in ranks. You have to go through the Hall of Doom to gain access to ranks. But once you reach Tier 5, you can purchase those pieces from the vendor in ranks. So the chest piece, the belt, and the pants, those come from ranks. The back piece come, again, either from Steel or Power Girl. Again, if you're a villain player, though, you're going to have to get it from Prometheum log boxes. So you're going to have to hope to get lucky to get the cape from Prometheum log boxes. And pretty much everything else, the shoulders, the hands, and the boots, that comes from the Anti-Monitor event. It was a pretty good surprise to see this character at the end of basically the first time we saw him in the Green Lantern Sinestro War was at the end of they had done like a Sinestro one shot. I forget what it was actually called, but it was essentially the start of the Green Lantern Sinestro War, and it was all kinds of awesome. And at the very end, the very last page, we see Superboy Prime wearing the evil Yellow Lantern emblem. We even see the Anti-Monitor with again the Yellow Lantern emblem, and we even see Cyborg Superman with again the Yellow Lantern emblem. We do see Cyborg Superman in I forget which part of the War of the Light, but in the game we do have a version of Cyborg Superman where he actually has the Sinestro Corps emblem. So they kind of reproduced some of that event within DC Universe Online. Then the next time we saw our friend Superboy Prime was within the pages of Countdown to Final Crisis. Countdown was not a real well received series, and sadly, the Superboy Prime that was portrayed within that series wasn't very good. Like he had some really stupid dialogues, like "I'll kill you to death" or stupid stuff like that. So it was pretty much a whiny character, and his dialogue was pretty awful in that series. But he had a pretty cool look, and especially in DC Universe Online, for some reason, black in DC Universe Online looks really good, and even better if you give it a nice contrasting color. Colors that works really well with black is white, yellow, or red. And in this case, as you can see, the black and the white, the contrast is pretty awesome. And again, the black in this universe online on pretty much any style looks so good that this is a pretty cool looking Superboy Prime look to give to your character. So even though his appearance in Countdown to Final Crisis was not a really good portrayal of the character, the look that he had and the look actually that we can recreate in this universe online is actually a pretty good look. Basically, you can use any slimline look, use the tall classic boots, the trim gloves, the retro belt, and again, all you really need is the Superman the Superman cape that you can get either from Power Girl or from Steel in the Watchtower. But again, if you're a villain player, then you're gonna have to get the cape from the Prometheum log boxes or some such thing. So this is pretty much it for our Superboy Prime video. So basically, again, Superboy Prime started basically as Superboy from Earth Prime, but he evolved through time in a whole bunch of different ways. And as you can see, we can recreate quite a few armories to have a different distinctive look for the character. So if you want to have a Superboy Prime character, you're going to have to be able to have multiple armories, and each armory will be able to have quite a few nice looking styles for your Superboy Prime character. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.